really important because whether you know or not, like I'm an entrepreneur also, and I also work with very successful holistic entrepreneurs who understand success principles, mindsets, and things. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who want to be entrepreneurs, and there's actually people who do a lot of self-development. I've dived into that for the last 2 or 4 years, and it's been quite an incredible journey. And I've realized a lot of the principles of success that exist out there also apply to spiritual growth and self-realization. So having a goal is really, really important. If you don't have goals, then, and you don't know where you're heading, then who does? So in quite a lot of literature and seminars by entrepreneurs, they often talk about, most people are just drifting. Well, I just do this, maybe I'll do that. They have no definitive goal and purpose in life. So one thing you can take away today out of everything is that you've got to figure out what it is you want. Don't get so caught up in what should you do. Because when you know what you want, the do becomes obvious, you know. So this is really important. Come on in. Now, if you want to achieve a goal, and they can have long-term goals, short-term goals. And in schools and universities, I've noticed you don't really get taught how to set goals. Right? You go from year 13, I used to be a teacher, by the way. Go to year, we were talking about this on Sunday. Year 13, you go to uni, next minute, you've got to be an independent learner. You've got to have the skill set and mindset of discipline and control to do everything. You've got to research on your own. There's no one there for you. The teacher's not spoon feeding you anymore. It's a bit of a shock. Is that true? They don't even prepare you for university, right? So having a goal and understanding how to achieve goals is really, really important. Whatever you do, even if you move out of here today and you don't even think having a spiritual goal is important to you, try to figure out, where do I want to be in 5 years? And then you may say, what do you mean? And then break your life up into areas, be specific. So the brain needs specific instructions, right? Don't be vague. It's like, I was saying to Munja, she was saying, I have some persons that live with me, they do service here. She said, I said, what time do you want them to be here? She said, around 11. I said, when do you want them to be here? What's the specific time? Because if I tell them be there around 11, they'll come at all different times. And, you know, if I say be there at 11, what's the probability they will turn up at 11? And most of them will turn up at 11. So it's the same with your life. When you wake up tonight, you should write down, what am I going to do tomorrow? When am I going to get up? What am I going to do at that time? And if you write these things down or have a way of being specific and planning the day, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the prime yoga text, a yogi always plans what to do with their senses the day before. Yeah. And you may not get everything done, but you will find you'll become so much more productive if you know what you're meant to be doing. Now, the key is you're going to learn today is, what should I be doing every day? And that's based on what your long-term goal is. And a long-term goal could be character, personal, health, relationship, money. So break your life down and look at each of those areas. Where do I want to be in the next 3 years? How much money do I want? Write down the figure. Be specific, and then you can break it down into a time frame. So similarly, if you're going, I hope this is working. Yeah. So if you're going to go, like, I want to go to Germany, or I'm going to go flying, then you're going on a trip. You have to, there's a lot of things you have to plan. You got to think of the food you're going to take, unless you like airplane food. You know, you've got to think, you've got to start preparing, you've got to start packing, sorting things out, you've got to get your ticket, you've got your visas, your COVID pass, do you need that? Do you need a vaccination or not? It's all going on for my wife and me right now. We're going off to America, Canada, and she's not vaxxed, and it's a whole, you know, can we go to this country, that country? So you've got to prepare, you've got to have some preparation for your goal. But once you know what your specific goals are, and you can go away, and, you know, one exercise you can do over a weekend, just sit, or every night for 10 minutes with a piece of paper, not on an iPad or anything. Break your life up into circles: health, relationships, personal growth, you know, things that you want to achieve, whatever they are. Just fill those circles up with stuff. And then what you do is you look at each one and you say, why do I want to do that? And if you can't give a reason why you want to do that, scrub it off, because you won't do it. And then what you find is you've got all the things you want to do and why you want to do them. Then you can set some goals, right? So here's a really important life-changing lesson, right, about goal setting, because you have to understand this magic principle of the universe. This is really good. This will help you with your relationships, if that's a goal. It will help you with your studies if it's a goal. It will help you with your diet if it's a goal, and weight. It will help you with your money if you can understand this one principle and apply it. Okay, so here's a little game for you. Who would like, to be really honest, I've got 3 million in that bag there. I've got $3 million in cash that you can have right now. That's 3 million, feel it, touch it, cash in your hand. Or would you take 1 cent from me and it will double every day for 30 days and that's all you're going to get? Someone's doing the maths right now.
Yeah, I can't do the maths.
Yeah.
That's one.
$7 in 1 week. So what would you have? Quickly.
Oh, the 1 penny double every.
3 million in cold cash. And you get a penny and it doubles every 30 days.
Because these kinds of questions are always tricky, so it's just a double.
Yeah. If it's tricky, why not take the 3? What about you?
I can't think of the number, so I'm going to choose 3
Yeah,
million.
me too.
3 million, right? I'll take the 3 million. Whether the 3, if it's more, it's just got, yeah. Okay, so it's got a little journey. So yeah, you got $1 day one, as you said. So tomorrow, after a week, you got 64 cents. Then you got 30 days. Right? 10 days, you got $5. 2 weeks, $81.
Oh.
You're changing your mind? For 81 cents in 2 weeks, how are you gonna get what the 20 days?
Here we go. Here we go.
What did you go for?
I don't know.
Are you just on the fence? Yeah.
I had a feeling this would be more. I don't know why.
Yeah, you did,
20
didn't you?
days.
See, you thought you'd been tricked, but you've been double tricked.
Yeah.
See, 25 days, you got
Oh,
167,000.
that's good. Yeah, that's more.
Now, really notice the last few days. See, in the beginning, you saw nothing, nothing really happening. But after just at the final days, 28th day,
Oh, yeah.
29,
You're right.
Yeah.
boom. It's a very important lesson. This lesson can change your whole life. It can change your whole life. I'm going to show you a little video. Hopefully this sound's working. Could you do the lights actually? Just change the lighting. That would be really cool. Just switch the switches, or one of the switches to this back one. Okay, you can do that. That's it. Can you see it? Oh, I'm in the way. Lights again, awesome. So the bamboo tree, right? 5 years. I know this. I've spoken to the person who grow bamboo. It's true. 5 years, watering. It's the enemy. But actually under the ground, all the root systems are preparing. All this imperceptible things, change and growth is happening very subtly underneath, right? So then on the 5th year, it grows, was it 18 feet in 90 feet in in 18 days, whatever it is, right? You see, you've got to try to see life. This is what you're not taught in school. If you want your life to be great, you have to build your foundation. You have to work on yourself. You have to do that one drop of water a day. It's not like a great thing every week or a great thing every month. It's just doing small things every day. It's called the compound effect. There's a book out there called Atomic Habits. They're writing the same stuff. It's just people writing the same thing, making money out of the same concept. The compound effect has more to it than what you'll learn tonight, but the basic principle of compound effect is don't underestimate that every decision that you make is going to have a compounding effect on your future, whether you see it or not. How deep are we going to go with this? Every minute decision you make has a huge impact of your life. If you want to know why you are sitting here and experiencing what you're experiencing, feeling the way it's been, because you have been making decisions and not realizing those tiny activities and decisions every day have culminated in exactly where you are today. You have the fruit of your karma. So most people, myself, were sleepwalking for so many years, not realizing and taking for granted that I need to become conscious before I become spiritually conscious. We need to become conscious and understand the universe works in a certain way. And this is what investors know. If you just want to talk financially, they know that if I just put an investment in of $100 a week over time with compounding interest, you can put $100 in a week, and in 10 years, you're a millionaire. But your investment has only been 20,000. Because it's compounding interest on the compounding value of your $100 per week. If every person was told from the age of 10 or whatever, of 18, you put $100 a week away in the bank for a certain amount of years, you won't have to work again. But who told you that? How many years have gone by? You're thinking, shit, man, so many years have gone by. I could have done that, right? But you're young, a lot of you're younger than I am. Because we don't have future thinking. We're not thinking of the future. We're just in survival mode, drifting now. Whatever we spend now to enjoy now. We have no sense of deferring our gratification for later on. That's what investors and successful people do. That's what successful sports people or successful people all do. These follow this principle. There's other principles. But this one, just think about how empowering that is. But it's a wake-up call, because you have to become aware, because the compound effect works negatively as well as positively. Say every day you're in a relationship and you're saying something that upsets your spouse, and you do it every day, and then you wonder why the marriage didn't work. Everyone's laughing. It's true. Just a little tiny comment. Oh, it's just a little comment. But after 1 year, that compounds into $5 million. It compounds on each time you do it. Every donut you eat every day. You wonder why you're fat at the end of the year. Now look at the other way. You take away a pudding, a couple, a bit of that. You don't see anything for a few months. I did this last year. I went gluten-free and I cut out dairy. And for the first 2 months, didn't do anything. But after suddenly in February, I went to put my trousers on, and it was like the bamboo tree. Within a week, my trousers didn't fit me. I didn't see it. This is the thing about the compound effect. It is a mysterious, invisible phenomenon. Isn't that exciting, isn't it? That alone has more value than anything you learn at school. Personally, as I was used to be a teacher, if you can just teach the kids that, it's got you thinking already, right? Oh, what am I doing this? So what you can do is you can start to go home and start thinking, what decisions am I making on a daily basis that could be moving me away imperceptibly away from my goal and what decisions are moving me towards my goal. This is an entrepreneur, and as a spiritual entrepreneur, as a yogi, a bhakti yogi, every day I have to be careful of every decision I make and ask myself, is this moving me forward or taking me backward? Because there's no in between. That 5 minutes watching some stupid thing on Instagram. Next day, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. What's that doing to my brain? What's that doing to my consciousness? How much time is that wasting on a compounding level? When I could actually be listening to a positive audio, a self-growth audio, reading 10 minutes of a really amazing book, actually reading Bhagavad Gita and learning about who I am and what is consciousness and what's my real goal in that. Am I more than the body and mind? Life, we only have 84,000 seconds a day. It's like being given $84,000 in cash and you have to spend the whole lot every day, and tomorrow you get another 84,000. If you had $84,000, would you waste that money? No, you'd want to spend it wisely. In a world of distractions, you have to be, most people are drifting in life. There's a current, right? And if you don't do anything, you are in the current, but you have to become a conscious rower. That these simple things are the only things that set a successful people different from a non-successful person. They realize the daily routines and small things I do every day are really important. It's not the big things. It's like, what do you eat for breakfast? What time do you get up? How do you speak to people every day? Those things compound in why you're happy or not happy. It's not the big things. So this is really cool. You can just take that away today. Here, yeah. So therefore, set goals and think about, make it be a year goal or a 90-day goal. So say at the end of the year, you want a certain amount of money. Sit down, figure out what's my income, where's my money going, do a budget. What do I need to get every day to get to that goal? And it's not a lot every day that you've got to save. Cut out it. Maybe you have to cut back here. Maybe don't do that. Don't buy those extra ginger beers or whatever. Don't buy the sandwich at the store. I'll give you an example. I was in a mall with a guy. I was having a business chat with him, and he was working for a shoe company there, and they had the stall in the middle. Sometimes they put the stalls in the middle, just to, you know. And I said, oh, but what? He's from South Africa, and I said, you know, so what's your goal? He said, actually, I want my own shoe store. I want to be self-employed. So that's definitely a better position than being an employee. And he said, and I said, I'm trying to save up. I said, oh. I said, so what do you have? I said, what did you have? I said, how's that going? He said, oh, not too bad. I said, what did you? I said, how many coffees do you have a day? And he looked at me like, why did I change the subject? He said, oh, 1, maybe 2, usually 1. So I said, so how many days a week are you here? Well, at the moment, 6 days a week. So I said, so maybe you have 6 to 8 cups of coffee a week. Yeah, probably. So how much a cup of cost for a cup of coffee? About $4 or $5, right? So that's nearly $50 a week you're spending on coffee. What's that in a month? 200. What's that in a year? It's nearly $3,000. I said, what do you have for lunch? His mouth just dropped. You're trying to save money. Compounding effect. You see? 1 coffee a day compounds into $2,500. I said, how much do you get a salary after tax? People say, oh, I earn 80,000. You don't earn 80,000. What do you get after tax? 45,000. So of 3,000 of that's just on your coffee, and you're expecting to save money. I said, if you took away the coffee and the lunches, you'd have a deposit on a house in a couple of years. See, most people say they can't get a deposit on a house when they can. Get rid of your bloody Sky subscription and read some books. I don't know. There's a way of compounding if you're willing to hold back, sacrifice for something greater. Is this useful? Is this helping? Because the society is pushing you into debt, pushing you into not managing your life, not making smart decisions long term. They're keeping you in the survival mode, so you're just trying to get some relief every week. So people have to go and get trashed, wasted, and do things just to tolerate it. But if you're excited about a goal, you'll do whatever it takes. That's what will set you apart. Have a goal. Get excited about it. Find out what excites you, what you want. Right? So you have to become mindful and you have to make good choices. And that's why goal setting, you have to understand. You won't set goals very easily unless you understand this compound effect and know that it's actually totally achievable. But you've got to sacrifice. You can't, people like millennials, I don't know, new generation, they just want happiness. Just happiness is the same. Right? You've got to know how to make the right choices to invest in your long-term happiness. But people are going for the low band happiness. I just want to be happy now. What makes me happy now? Where's the stimulus? And they'll have to get artificial stimulus to boost the immediate sense of gratification that they want. So it's copious amounts of drugs and drinking and, you know, hookups or whatever, right? Maybe there's some healthy ones too, but I don't think many people do that. They usually do the healthy ones and the yoga retreats and Vipassana to recover from the hedonism and feel spiritual for a while. That's okay. It helps them. So, so been there, done that. So happiness and mindset for success. So so you need to have daily habits that are aligning to those. Remember those circles? Like health, relationships, travel, work, career, self-development. Once you've got kind of goals there, then you need to set daily habits that align with those goals that are very easy to do and don't stress you out. Example was, I wasn't doing my piano. I play blues piano as a thing I love doing. I used to play in bands in the UK and I still like playing blues piano. And my dad, before he passed away, gave me the money to get a digital piano because the big ones are impractical. So I remember, I was going to get back, and I thought, I've got a son, I've got a wife and a son, and I'm busy. I do lots of different things, and I was managing this loft for about nine years on top of that. I thought, I just want to. There's a blues piece I really want to learn, and I was like, when am I going to find an afternoon to do that? When am I going to find the hours to put into that piano piece so I can get it done amongst my busy schedule? You have a feeling like that? When am I going to get to do that big workout that I need to be healthy, right? I want to be fit. Yeah, when am I going to get to the gym for 2 hours, 3 times a week, right? So, but once I learned this, I thought, oh, compound effect. I'm just going to do, how much time can I put to the piano every day that doesn't stress me? It's possible, but it stretches me. And you know that when you get the feeling in your gut, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can do that. So I figured out just 10, 15 minutes a day. I can do that. I can do that. I can fit that in, find that 10 minutes. And I started learning bits of, and I do it visually, and I watched, and they've got these amazing angles on the blues piano player. I was learning the licks and how to do it. And you know, after a couple of weeks, I thought, oh, still doing the same thing, you know, just kind of plodding along. And I thought, no, compound effect. In 4 weeks, oh, and a few things started to happen, and then all of a sudden, I remember around 6-week mark, I was just like sat down. Well, it just suddenly it started coming together. It's like, wow, in 6 weeks, it was just like 10 minutes every day. I just started to grasp this piece and I finished the piece. The bamboo effect happened. It wasn't 5 years, but it was enough for me to do it. So for your fitness, if you did 10 minutes of exercise every day of yoga, just did 10 minutes, but every day. I'm doing Duolingo right now. I'm on my 90th day, right? And I've missed 1 day, 90 days. I did 10 minutes every day. I was at the park. I told you on Sunday, didn't I? Did I say it on Sunday? Did I say it on Sunday? No, I've been like, oh, j'ai mangé ton repas, où est la toilette, la femme, or whatever. I just, you know, where the toilets for the women. You didn't get that one, you don't know French. I was just joking around. But I've been learning some French. But I went to the park, dropped off on the way on Sunday. As I came I was in there, and I met a lady came up to me, and she said, oh, you know, he's made friends, and she started speaking French to her kid. She spoke pure Kiwi, then she went French. And I went, that tu parles plus français? She said, oh, comment ça va? I said, oh, très bien. And I said, oh, I'm speaking French. 90 days, 10 minutes every day. And I actually got some sentences out, and she was really impressed. I said, oh, ma femme français canadien. She said, oh, oui. Tu habites? I said, oh, j'habite à la Otahu, you know. So I studied, and she could get it, and she had some corrections. But there, you know, the idea of learning a language, right? It's like just 10 minutes every day. I'm doing the compound effect on everything now, right? Same with your work at uni. You got all these books. Think of the time frame you've got to do it in. break it down into daily habits. What do you need to do? And do those small things every day, but do it every day. Be disciplined. Now, these things are required. Daily habits aligned with the goals is fit, but you also need to develop the mindset, which I'm not going to go too much into. That's the whole thing. You need to develop patience, consistent. Remember with the watering every day, persistence, with the ups and downs, thunder and lightning, earthquakes, you just water the plant, right? So you've got to have this ability to be emotionally resilient despite the knocks and setbacks of life, which are inevitable. And this is why I help a lot of young men these days. Some of them come and I train them and live with me at my house. Try to build up their stamina to deal with life. And people are so weak today. A little bit of a, it's like, you got to get a bit of a thicker skin, you know. I don't mean a thicker heart, but you have to have a thicker skin. Because life is going to throw things at you. Now let's get back to, so I think there's some good lessons there, right? Goal setting, compound effects. Keep that better in mind. Now remember, we're learning about the dissatisfied happiness seekers. Right? So society's norms and values, we're going against the grain. Society's norms and values have been telling you to do things every day and they will make you happy. And you've all been investing in those, right? And it's compounded in disappointment, right? Let down, and you start to drop the bar. Okay, so we want to move into, so let's start thinking about, but so we need to start, and we're going to analyze a little bit about goals. So what is the best goals to achieve? So in the yoga text, we're not anti any goals. We just know the difference between the primary goal and the secondary goals. So is physical health and fitness, is that the best goal to have? Is having academic career and learning, is that the best? Is it fame and fortune? Is it work and family? Well, we're learning on Sunday that it isn't really the primary goal. And I've got a nice video that I wanted to show on Sunday. So let's hear from some people. You've seen this before, but let's hear from some people here who have achieved a significant level of success in all the arenas that most people aspire for. You know, acting, entrepreneurial, singing, what's what the other ones in here? There you'll see, and just see that they put the work in, they put the grind in, and what was the result? Can you see okay? Sorry.
Yeah. When How I Met Your Mother first went on the air, I ran into an actress that I knew, and she said, "Are you just like so happy all the time?"
Why am I unhappy? Okay, Stephanie Gaga, hybrid person. Why are you unhappy? Why is it that you want to quit music?
And I remember thinking like, oh, that sitcom's coming. Like that sitcom, it's coming. And when I got it, you know, I won't say it was a depression, but you kind of go through a disappointment because that fame or that thing didn't satisfy the way you thought it was going to satisfy.
I had bought into the not uncommon notion that when I taste success, when I get over there, then I'll be happy. But the strangest thing happened. As the show got more successful, I got more depressed.
I thought it would be good to be rich and famous. It would be good to be the opposite of this. It would be good to have stuff. It would be good to have money. It would be good to be invited to the party. Well, I've been invited. I've been in. We're having this chat in a private Swiss members club in East London. It's super cool. There's bare brick walls. Everyone's double good looking. But I've been inside now. I've seen the other side of the looking glass. It ain't fucking worth it. It's not good. It don't feed your soul. I still feel empty inside.
I had everything I could want, even then. I was a millionaire. I had a beautiful women in my life. I had cars, a house, an incredible, a solid gold career, and a pension. And yet, on a daily basis, I wanted to commit suicide.
As a Beatle, we made it, and there was nothing to do. We had money, we had fame, and there was no joy.
The media told me every day, it's telling you every day what it is to be successful. So you've got MTV Cribs, you've got billionaires in front of your face, you have these extrinsic, external goals that will say, oh, Tom Shadyac has arrived. He has the right house, the right car, he flies privately. And when I got there, it was empty.
I was successful in the music business. I was successful in modeling, in television, in real estate. So I made all this money and I had all this success. And here I was going, Okay, I still don't feel any different.
We are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But that's not entirely true.
I don't like wasting my time spending days just shaking people's hands and smiling, taking selfies. It feels shallow to my existence. I have a lot more to offer than my image. I don't like being used to make people money. I feel sad when I'm overworked and that I just become a money-making machine and that my passion and my creativity take a back seat. That makes me unhappy.
If you are looking for fame to define you, then you will never be happy, and you will always be searching for happiness, and you will never find it in fame.
Okay. You can do that. You see, the yoga texts explain there's two types of external acquisition and fame that we try to get happiness from. There's the gross sense. Get the car, you got the money, you got the bling, you got the partner, you've got the apartments, right? You got the yacht or whatever. But then there's subtle acquisition as well that the self tries to find. And that subtle acquisition is in the mind. Feeling that people like me, I'm famous. It's an acquisition that's not tangible in a gross way, but like they're speaking, when I got there, when I had the fame, when I had notoriety and attention, that's an acquisition. Oh, I got 1,000 likes. And there's a feeling in the mind of, oh, I've got it, right? I've got it, so fame and these things are called subtle acquisitions. But as we can see in the yoga, as I was talking about on Sunday, is that all these external acquisitions don't fulfill the self. Does that mean we do away with trying to be famous and get things? No, that's not true. We've got to get to the root of why this is so. This is a great puzzle. That's why we're going to lead into now. I'm going to give you a summary to back up when we get to the yoga text, you'll understand that the yogis are scientists. They are ancient scientists and professors who have studied and analyzed and taught the science of happiness for thousands of years. They're not some religious, quasi-floaty spiritual people who, it is, of course, on a platform beyond, but mind is beyond our range of perception. So we're going to back up the validity of what you've got your hands on tonight by having a quick look now at the last 20 years of happiness research. So what's happened is, from those celebrities, we can see there's a happiness problem here. Here we have all of us as children growing up through the education systems, through life, particularly through the media and the mainstream propaganda of society's norms and values to be happy. It's being pushed by all these famous people out who are faking it. When you watch all these most of the music out there is just putting on a front. I was in bands, I've done music videos. It's a whole lot of bollocks. It's just a show. You go, you show off, and then the lights start, and just crap, and have a beer, I'm tired. It's all just, and there's fallouts between the band, and it's like, you have your bad, there's a whole fantasy in that world. I'm not saying all of it's like on that level, but it's majority of it is pushing this idea of making money and selling a dream, right? And as young children, we grow up with all that. It's a little bit different now. It's more intense for you guys. When I grew up, there was singers in the 80s, like Morrissey, and I don't know if you know Morrissey, the Smiths, and I don't know these bands, and Howard Jones, and these, but they were actually educating young people to think. Because pop music actually had at least an element of some bands, percentages, because Howard Jones, for instance, had his album when I was 12 was called Human Liberation. The first song was about welcome to conditioning, teaching me who I am, what I am. It's amazing music. It was all like 80s pop. You had the trash stuff as well, Madonna and all that, right? Which is, it's good pop music, but it was all shallow, right? She's a very narcissistic person, but you know, but now it's just so much shallowness. So we've got all these, yeah, sure. We've got all these strategies and norms we've been told. So let's look at, it's a trick door, you can't get out. Gotcha. Now we're going to look at, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of research. I'm just going to give you a complete summary in 5 minutes or so of the whole summary of 20 years or so of happiness research on what, and it will shock you. Why isn't this in school? Let alone what Bhagavad Gita is teaching, right? So, of all the research on happiness, particularly through positive psychology, which have been doing this for many decades, which is a branch of psychology, 50% of your happiness is genetic. On average. What does that mean? So when you came in here and sat down and were like, what's happening? That's your genetic level of happiness. And then I came in, oh, hi, and you meet someone that goes up a bit, right? You know, or you looked at me and went, oh, who's this guy? The other one probably went down. So, or you get a phone call, you know, when you sit on the bus, at the end of the day, okay. That's your genetic, you always default back to your genetic level of happiness when nothing's going on, negative or positive. Right? And that varies. They've done tests on twins who got separated at birth. Many twins have been separated, and they measure their genetic level of happiness and then they come together and they show that they all have very similar, this sort of level of happiness, right? So that's biological. You've got a certain makeup. Now, most people fit into a certain band, or what we call normal genetic level of happiness. Some people are actually depressed, and they have to have drugs to create that balance in the brain to bring them up to kind of, you know what I mean? Or some people are hyper. Their brains are over, just too happy. Bring them down. So 50% of your happiness is from a normal standpoint of happiness is pretty much genetic. So when you go home tonight, you park down and just forget about the day and sit with yourself and go, oh, that's my genetic level of happiness. That's not too bad. So now, the interesting thing is 10% of your overall happiness comes from acquisitions, changing things outside yourself, circumstances. Because there may be an initial or new relationship, new country, new house, but after a while, it just becomes normal. You adapt to it. So circumstances are 10%, it's important, but we are told in society, if you change your circumstances, change your hair, change this, buy this, that, change your car, do this, you're told you're going to be happy. But that's only 10% of your overall happiness comes from changing your circumstances. Incredible, right? How many you've gone through different relationships, right? And after a while, you're sick of them. It just gets a bit dull, isn't it? Come on, let's be honest. So you can only go to the same restaurant so many times in a row, right? Why? Because of that 10%, society is pushing us that way. You got the gist, right? We are being told, go for the 10%. Everything's there, right? Fame, fortune, money, this, that. Money means you can change things, have choices at any moment to do different things. Now, of that 10%, as I just explained, you have this phenomenon called adaptation. We all, I've got a funny couples movie in here. I won't show it there, but it's a funny skit of two couples coming together, going through the motions. Like, hi, darling. Hi there. How are you? Dinner, nice. And it goes on in bed. How are you? How are you? It's like really funny how relationships can just become very. And the thing is, you start blaming the person. Oh, I don't think there's anything in our relationship anymore. I think it's just, what are you going to do? And you look at the other, maybe it's you, maybe it's me. It's called adaptation. You don't understand. In this world, it's the way the universe works. You adapt. Anything material, you get used to it. But you blame the other person. You blame yourself. You don't blame adaptation. You get a nice flower, and after a while, it just wilts and dries up. And everything in the yoga text, this is called the nature of time. Time isn't an innocent thing. Oh, there's time. There's time. Time brings things to you and takes things away from you. Time is the most powerful force in all existence from the yoga. It's called Kala, Kala Sapa, the snake of time. Brings to you things and takes things away from you imperceptibly. Everyone look at their hands like that. Look at your nails. Anyone done their nails today? Oh, you got nice nails. Cool. So she... Maybe you do have nice nails. That's a bit worrying. So I want you to really stare at one of your nails now. I want you to feel the end of that finger, and I want you to feel the nail growing. Can you see it? Can you feel it? No. But in the morning, oh, my nails. This is the nature, like the compound effect. These are imperceptible forces of time and the effects of the universe. So this is becoming a yogi today, expanding your consciousness, your awareness. We're going to get into that next. So when you have issues with things, when you buy things, should you not have a new car? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I've had a new car when I got wrecked and insured and got me a new car. Fine. But I look at it and go, cool, but I'm aware that adaptation is going to take place. I don't put all my eggs into the 10%. 10% is important. You have to deal with circumstances. Sometimes you do need to change your circumstances, but you always have to be aware that it's not going to fulfill you ultimately. And the other thing is, oh, the video is here. Should we watch it?
Oh, yeah.
For a bit of a laugh? Okay.
Hey, can I talk to you about something?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Are we okay?
What do you mean?
I don't know, I've been having this feeling lately, like all the days are blending together. Does that make sense?
How long have you been feeling like this?
I don't know. I can't even remember.
Maybe like a couple months after we moved in here.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think there's something wrong with us?
You mean like us?
What do we do?
Okay, so we're skipping forward in time.
Yes, but only when we're doing something we normally do, right? Like, you know, our routine.
I didn't know we had a routine. Okay, so we just do something different then.
Yeah, before it's too late.
Okay, how about this? No more takeout. I'm willing to cook for us.
Really? Yeah, you could use that crock pot we never opened. We should buy like a shit ton of Groupon.
Groupons, yeah, love it.
I need to love her record.
Okay. We always wanted to go to Japan.
We should do that trip. We can become one of those couples that volunteers and goes and builds houses.
Let's do this.
We can change.
For real this time.
Wait. Let's switch. Let's switch, trust me.
Interesting, hey? Adaptation. I wouldn't say put your hand up if you had that. It takes a lot of work, isn't it, to keep the juice flowing? You know, to keep the buzz going. Now they have Viagra and toys and implements and whatever, just to keep something going. What is it? The smart person goes, why am I having to try to keep squeezing pleasure? Try this, try that, isn't it? Whether you believe it or not, this is the scientific experience of what we're actually experiencing. So it's the scientific reality of what we're experiencing in life. But no one wants to talk about it. Why? Maybe it's because what's the point in figuring out why? It's just the way it is, right? That's the way we get over it. Who do you think you are, Buddha? Just kind of, if you imagine telling your friends, look, I'm trying to figure out adaptation. I'm trying to be happy, and I want to find out happiness on the deepest level. I don't think the strategies we're being told are correct. What do you think? Give me more to drink, mate. You know, no. Smart person. Also, the other aspect to this 10% is social comparison. This is huge. No one believes they're under the influence of this, but I've done anthropology, and this happens even in tiny little villages in Africa. When someone builds a house and then the neighbor builds a bigger house, they instantly depreciate things that they have. And this is huge. This impact they use now down to 5-year-olds in advertising. They're always making you feel insecure with what you got by getting you to compare with others. All the research that comes out of Harvard, Yale, all these places, all this psychological research, do you think it goes into helping people? It goes to the advertising companies and who use this to manipulate you and control us. Millions of dollars to do research. You're not going to make money doing research on social comparison and get, become financially independent. You do it by giving it to corporations. I used to show a clip here of a woman who was hired by an advertising agency, and she was told it was called nagging mums, it was called, and something like that. And she comes on, there's a clip, and she said, I was asked to look at why is it kids are nagging their mums in supermarkets and how, and she thought it was to help the mums cope with nagging kids for products and things. When in a supermarket, I've got a kid, and they put all the things on the low shelves and I want that, tantrums. She thought it was to help the mums. She did all the research, and then she found out it was actually to help the advertisers help kids nag for their products. This is how deep it goes, social comparison. I like this one, it's quite cool. I hate you too. So that 10%. So that is the whole summary of 20 years of happiness. Actually, the conclusion, I was talking to someone 6 months ago who does a similar research. They're more of a researcher than me. They said the conclusion of modern psychology is you can't be happy. You actually can't find fulfillment. It's not possible. But who didn't tell you that? Of course, the yogis are going to challenge them immediately. Yeah, you're talking about acquisition for the temporary body and mind. But happiness is possible, and this is the life-changing lesson you've been waiting for. So you just had a summary of all the research in psychology. Remember the 50%, 10%, but what about the 40%? Perception. You see, what positive psychology focuses on, and what you see now in therapies, there's so much therapy out there, it's like therapy mania, right? And some really good stuff too, though. But CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, you've got emotional behavior, you've got all these ACT, all these things. Most of these new therapies to help people become happy is actually changing their perception, the 40%, which is always in your voluntary control. Don't focus on the 10%. If people like Viktor Frankl, all these kind of research, Viktor Frankl, who studied why people survived the concentration camps and those who didn't when he was there. He realized it's about attitude. Your attitude that you develop, the qualities that you develop are always in every situation in your voluntary control. You have to cultivate qualities. They don't just come out of thin air. Well, I want to be appreciative and grateful. Well, what are you doing in a compounding effect every day to create gratefulness? What we've generally been doing is going through our lives complaining every day. Oh, yeah, I can tell I'm a whinging pom, right? Just complaining. Oh, why that? Why that? Well, you just get more of that. Right? Rather than like, what can I be appreciative today? Now, what you may do, go out of here and say, I want to develop gratitude and appreciation and kindfulness and tolerance and patience. Then you've got to have a program together. That can be your goal. In the next 90 days or a year, why not develop and change your perception of the way you see the world, right? Whether it's going good or bad for you, you can always develop gratitude, appreciation, forgiveness, kindness. You can practice those things. But you have to have a plan and do a little bit every day. Why not say a nice thing to one person every day that makes their day? Now, you may not feel happy for the first weeks about that. You may feel a little bit, but what's going to happen after 6 months of doing it? Remember the compound effect. Don't forget the compound effect. If you can cultivate small things every day, like here at the loft, people come and do service here every day. And after months and months and months, they start to feel happier. well, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm just doing selfless service. I'm making people happy. I'm serving out food to people. The yogi knows the key to happiness is to cultivate the qualities of the heart. How many of us are hanging on to people that pissed us off and we haven't forgiven them? Or people may have really hurt us. We're hanging on to that. Maybe we can start learning forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone. There's a whole science to forgiveness. It's not about saying it was okay, but you don't have to carry that person in your mind anymore. So forgiveness, kindness, gratitude, appreciation, tolerance, forbearance, aversion to fault finding. These are all the qualities described in the yoga text that Krishna explains that you should be cultivating. Because why? They are the qualities of the soul, the non-material self. You're a person, you're not the body and mind, which I'll show you again in a minute. The more you cultivate the qualities of these heart, psychologists are proving that if you improve the way you see the world rather than being half empty and half full, you develop more sustainable happiness. I'll give you one quick study. Canada students, they went up to them and said, hey, here's 20 Canadian dollars, go and spend it on yourself. So they measured their level of happiness when they got the money, and then they measured their level of happiness after they spent the money, and their level of happiness went up. Then they went a month later, or whatever, they went back and gave them, here's $20, go and spend it on someone else. And then they measured their happiness. So they were much happier, and the happiness lasted longer. You see, when you invest in others' happiness, in the beginning, you don't seem to be happy, but long term, you become happy. There's the theory. The practice is hard because we're brought up to be so selfish. So selfishness leads to loneliness and unhappiness. The more you take the eyes off you and endeavor to put the eyes on others, that's why most marriages, I mean, I'm just going to go on some tangents here, but marriage relationships, why don't they work? Because we're selfish. What are you doing for me? You're meant to give me pleasure. You're my pleasure machine. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? It's not about serving, tolerating, developing, changing, transforming, and trying to make the relation. Nothing comes without freaking hard work. And relationships are the same. People are breaking up as soon as they're unhappy. I'm not happy. So what? Get over yourself. Work it out. But that doesn't exist anymore. Well, it's my life. No, it's not your life. It's a gift. And your job is to help others happy because that's in your interest. I'm not talking about the extremes where people are getting abused. Definitely people if you're suffering from abuse. But if you're just not getting on, arguing, tearing your hair out, and you just can't work it out, sort it out. Because you don't grow when you're happy, you party. You grow when you're in trouble. You grow when there's struggle, right? So this is, again, you have to look at what are the compounding things that are happening in the relationship that have compounded over time that has got us to this place. And all marriage counselors tell you, I coach and mentor people. I've been coached and mentored in my marriage, because if you think you can get through a marriage and a relationship without coaching, you're an idiot. It's like going to the Olympics. You think you're going to get the Olympics on your own? You need someone who's been to the Olympics to coach and mentor you and help you and get you up and get you off the floor when you're feeling sorry for yourself, get you out of bed when it's cold, when you think you don't want to train. Marriage is the same. It's all the same. So I'm being quite straightforward. I hope it's okay. It's my British nature. Being a bit straight. So 40%. All these therapies now. You can go online, go on TED Talk, get off Netflix, get off Instagram, unless you're using it for business or whatever, and start looking at things you can do every day. You can do this tomorrow. You can spend compound effect. I'm going to spend 15 minutes, 10 minutes a day looking at a TED Talk, how to develop forgiveness. Do that for a month or two. Then I'm going to do compassion, appreciation, random acts of kindness. Start doing them. Because you ain't going to be happy unless you do. You can't be. You're not acting on the platform of the self. You're not developing the qualities that are inherent within your heart. You're not bringing them out. We're defaulting to negative, which is selfishness, jealousy, envy, lust, greed, madness. Madness means doing crazy things to be happy. Killing yourself to be happy. eating fast food, taking drugs, drinking. I don't know. I know you guys don't do that, but you know, these things kill you because you're not happy. You become happy, you become compassionate, you start eating compassionate food, you start doing compassionate things. You've got to love yourself first before you can love other people. Be healthy to yourself. But you know, there's reasons why we may have these habits. Parents role modeled it, science, everything. So let's have a look. In the Bhagavad Gita, 5,000, this is the last 5 minutes or so, just to summarize what we learned on Sunday, but a bit deeper. Is this useful? We're doing all right? What you're getting tonight is priceless. It's priceless. I wish someone had told me this years ago, but it was years ago, 20 years ago. I was 20 years before that. This isn't Bhagavad Gita. This is a 5,000-year-old book written by black people, brown people. Why do I say that? I'm an anthropologist, right? Brown people, they were supposed to be stupid savages back then, right? This is what was written in the book. So I studied anthropology prior to political correctness. Any culture outside of Europe that had written anything intelligent or any other culture other than white Europeans were considered savages, barbaric, and inferior. Political correctness has changed. Now we appreciate their mythologies. Now, this is a science, another patronizing way of saying you're stupid. But these ancient people of India were very advanced. This whole yoga system came from India, very amazing culture in India. And this 5,000 years from the Bhagavad Gita, this is in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Krishna says the working senses, these are the senses, tongue, smell, senses, right? They're the senses, they're working, they're doing stuff, are higher, superior to dull matter. So we're going from gross matter to finer, right? So so your flesh, your body, the blood, the mucus, all the liquids swimming around in here, right? Which aren't you, it's just it's like a car full of battery fluid and car brake fluid and things going on, right? Just a more organic kind of machine. Higher than the dull matter, the body, is the senses. A little bit more subtle, right? Mind is higher than the senses. So higher than these senses, and we're going from thick to thin to thin to thin. So from senses, mind. Can you see my mind? It's too thin. You can't see the layer of mind that I have. But you know I have a mind. If you've lost your mind, maybe leave the room. That'd be crazy. So the mind, you know, the mind is here by the symptoms of me talking and my thinking, right? And you can observe your mind through mindfulness. Mindfulness, right? There's a thought, there's a feeling, there's a movie. So we've all got a mind, right? And you'll pay a psychologist to help you with that if it's causing, because in the mind, Krishna says, is thinking and feeling. You feel in the mind. Ooh. You think of your beloved, and then you feel, right? So the heart and the mind are linked. So often chitta in Sanskrit means, or mana means heart and mind. So thinking, feeling, and then action. So you're sleeping at night, you hear a bang downstairs. Who's that? Thinking, and then you act. Put the covers over your head. Or get the gun out. So, no. You hear the bang, you go, what's that? Then fear, feeling, and then you either put the covers over your head or you get up, right? Thinking, feeling, willing. It's very advanced. And then higher than the mind, the unit of spiritual consciousness is even higher than and intelligence is higher than the mind. What do you mean, intelligence? You're talking about that when you came in. So what is intelligence? Intelligence is separate from your mind. Your mind is thinking and feeling, and the mind, one of the faculties of the mind is to discriminate. Oh, that's a thought. That's my mind. Well, that's my body. That's your use of the machine of intelligence. You use it to discriminate and to gain knowledge, to gain capital knowledge. So these are the layers that are covering you. Behind that is you. Higher than intelligence is the self, the Atma, the experiencer. So the experiencer, you're in this head, you've got your intelligence, you can use it, so your mind, you can think, you can use the mind, you've got the senses and the body. Amazing. That's your whole existence summed up. Pretty far out. They weren't that stupid. So here you have the hierarchy. going up. Now, what happens is if the intelligence loses its sense of knowledge of what the self is, who you really are, that I'm not the mind, body, and senses, then the intelligence is lost. And it sits under the mind and is used by the mind to satisfy the senses and body. When your mind, the reason we got into trouble, the strategies we're in trouble, because we're being controlled by the mind. The mind is always thinking, let's do this, should we go there? Maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. Well, that feels good. The mind is constantly going on and pushing you around to engage your senses in this world, thinking you'll be happy. And the reason tonight you're getting your intelligence sharpened, and now you can see, right? I've just grabbed your intelligence and I've put it here. And the world out there will put it back here. Because once the soul, you have intelligence, you can now direct yourself towards the real goal. Now you can head yourself off into where you should be going, because you're on a journey. This is intelligence now. Your body has changed. You're not in the body you were born in right now. Did you know that? That's not the body you were born in. No, you're not old, you're the same age, but your body and mind has changed. Every cell in your body changes between 5 to 7 years. So you've refleshed every 5 to 7 years. So you're in probably your 3rd or 4th body. When you were 5 years old, you went, I am 5. I like my dolls, you know, tea time, you know, like, I don't know, maybe girls play with boys' toys. Everyone's getting confused these days. So, and when you were 10, I'm 10. I'm 10-year-old, I know my math. Then I'm a teenager. When I was at school, we used to change our names for fun. I don't like my name. You ever done that? You had a group of friends. I want to be called Fido. That was my name, Fido. And a group of us, we would change our names because we didn't like our names. Because we think we're our names. I'm not Badger, it's a name. That can change. I'm still here. My body's changed. Every body that you have, you look in the mirror, you think it's you. But at every moment, like your finger changing, it's imperceptibly changing at every moment. Cells are dying and replacing at every moment. And it's like a movie playing really fast. You don't see there's these frames that are changing. Pretty far out, eh? So we're drifting spiritually, not just materially. You can change your gender, you can change your organs, you can replace your heart, you can, you know, if this body is me, then if I cut my finger off and you take it to Australia, have I gone to Australia? I have. Oh, okay. Oh, you lost your mind there. So this is the misidentification of the body. This is the key to why we're dissatisfied happiness seekers. We're trying to please the body and the mind when they're not ours. They do need taken care of. But what about your needs? And the needs linked to the positive psychology. Your needs are, I'm a person and I have qualities, and to be happy, I need to express my pure qualities as a me. I need to be forgiving. I need to have those pure qualities of the heart. I need something beyond acquisition. I want my heart to feel happy. And the way I'm happy is that I am a being and I need to make other conscious beings happy. And the best way to make them happy is not just to give them things for their bodies and mind, which is most philanthropy, is to how to connect them to the platform of non-material happiness. Love is non-material. It has nothing to do with circumstances when it's actually out of the conditioned state. Problem is when we fall in love and we think that person's the body and mind, we try to find that love through the lower levels of body and mind, which leads to the frustration. You're expressing your eternal non-material love through limitation. What do you think? You see? Oh, there's me, look. These are all the body. I can't believe this is up here. I've just unconsciously drifted. There's me, teenager. I was about 6 or 7 on the right. That's when I was about 25. That's when I was a baby. I don't remember being a baby. It's a lifetime ago. I have no memory. Do you remember being 2 or 3? Didn't exist then, did it? Because you don't remember. Of course it happened. So like this car, the body's like the car, right? So the gross body is the outside, very nice looking car, Teslas. And you have the interior, which represents the mind. Your body's a machine. And you've got the radio playing, that's that little deck there, and the movies, that represents your mind. And most people have like compoundingly done habits, so just let the radio station play whatever it wants, and it's tuning into the things that you've habitually been putting it into. So what mindfulness does, most self-development now, it gets you to retrain that and get a more positive mind, right? But you have to reprogram it, and then the inside feels okay, right? So you've got the outside and inside, but what's the use of the car without the driver? It has no value. You're the driver, this vehicle. You're the one who says, I need to put some fuel in. I wish you'd shut up, I can't eat. Right? You're the one filling it up. But when you fill up your belly, 4 hours later, you're not satisfied. So when you put petrol in this car, you're not feeding the driver. So people spend their whole life decorating the car, taking care of the outside of the car. Or if they're more refined, they'll try to upgrade the movies and the talk inside the car, but still the driver's not being fed. Get it? So how do you satisfy a non-material being? So therefore we need daily habits that compound to achieve non-material results. So here we teach you non-material habits to add to your already habits to have a healthy body and mind. You need a healthy body, you need a healthy mind, so you can practice proper yoga and connection back to the real self. So this mantra meditation that we do, that you saw, a strange thing, Hare Krishna, this is a non-material sound vibration. It reawakens your dormant love and connection between you, the self within the body, and the source of you. You put Coca-Cola, 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 Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson. You can try. In chant Hare Krishna, it's different. I've been chanting this for 20 years. I do 2 hours every day. Chant Hare Krishna. That's one habit. The other habit is there are adjustments you can do in your lifestyle. Particularly first is to start hearing some transit. Tonight, I'm actually not speaking what I think. I'm giving you a presentation of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in a contemporary way, so you can understand it's not some sort of religious thing. It's a scientific lifestyle of awakening consciousness to the self. And it's a very, very amazing book. But it's not ordinary. It's actually transcendental sound, non-material sound. It's very satisfying hearing this knowledge. It's kind of tasty. So every day, if you read 10 minutes every day you do 10 minutes chanting, and you give it some time, you'll start to see changes in that perception. You'll start to see the world differently. So if you want to stay where you are and experience what you always experience, stay in the comfort zone, don't chant the mantra and don't read anything. If you read every day a little bit of this knowledge, start to learn, get a little bit of mentorship around it, how to apply a lifestyle and adjust a few things, because there are some habits in your material life that need to adjust a little bit, because you want to dry the wood out, you don't want to put water on the fire of your growth. But if you just chant Hare Krishna a little bit, you learn, you come and associate those 3 things, within a month or 2, if you're sincere, you'll see changes. You'll start to see how how you were putting everything in the 10%. You'll start to see how futile that was, because to tell you what, without a higher taste and connection to the atmosphere out there, this is all theory. Out there, you'll just get sucked back in again. You have to hang on to something stronger. You have to have a pull. You have to experience something higher. You've been going through that transition, right? You've been chanting regularly this last year and reading, and you feel a pull, right?
Massive. I first started chanting last year,
right?
And then I stopped, and then now that I've been chanting consistently, it's like I just I can't count the amount of changes in my life.
It's very subtle.
It's very subtle,
Yeah.
but it's built up to a point where it's like I feel unrecognizable.
And you can see the field, there's two energies you're connecting. There's the old things, and you start to see,
Yeah. What was that?
that's not so important. What happens is your material desires and those pursuits for the lower strategies that society's pointed you at, they don't disappear. It's like going up in a plane. You just get a different perspective on them. They don't become so overwhelming anymore. They don't become so important. They are important. Your goals in life are important. Your education, your work. I work, I'm an entrepreneur, I have family and kids, but everything's in perspective. And I don't lose sight of my goals. Remember what it was about? It's about goal setting. What's the best goal to have? The best goal is your non-material goal. You add that to your existing life. Don't subtract. And you start to add some compounding habits every day. You need a lifestyle and a plan to introduce these habits into your life. So I did this 21-day challenge I talked about. You can read a little bit every day. It could be 5 minutes. I've got Billy, she's there's 3 people came on Sunday. So Billy, she's doing 5 minutes a day because so do 5 minutes challenge a day. Or reading, do 5 minutes sound therapy, do 10 minutes a day. And we have a WhatsApp group, we all do it together. I come on and I meet and I coach you every day, put a little video up there. And attend, you need association. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to Australia at the end of this month to meet the team. And every month we meet up on Zoom and we have, you've got to get round association of like-minded people. You've got to let that rub off. You've got to get around people who are enthusiastic and successful in your arena. I just had a meeting with, no, I don't have time. So, and a bit of accountability, yeah. These accountability is one of the secret ingredients to success that people totally underestimate. And it's going to be the new, people are going to make a lot of money out of people teaching them accountability in the next couple of years, I guarantee it. Because everyone has to make money out of people who are ignorant, right? It's just the way it is, yeah. I mean, when people don't know things, then fads come in, then people who follow those and then charge courses online to teach people that, and I do courses online too, but so that's my 21-day challenge. That's just an opportunity for those who would like to try that. But that's just, other than that, there's so much to take away from today. Oh.
The beautiful thing about this challenge is there's a group of us now, and we all
She's a teacher.
in the morning a video of our intentions. We submit the habits that we intend to do and that we're installing. And then in the evening, we reflect on how we went, how our day went. And for me, just phenomenal. Like I just can't get over it. It's only been 14 days, and how much I've instilled these habits into my life because I'm doing it, I'm being supported doing it, and I'm seeing other people doing it. It's just beautiful.
So there you go. So that's an opportunity if you want to get involved. And so remember the magic of the compound effect. Take that away if that's totally useful. Break it down into a particular goal and think of small things you can do, and have a reflect of some of the little habits you might be doing that are, that are holding you back. Okay, and everything should be moved and adjusted gently. So say you're getting up at 7 in the morning. I want to go up at 4 every morning. Or just first 30 days, just go back half an hour. Next 30 days, another half an hour. Just gradually move things small every day to where you want to get them. You need the right mindset. I didn't go too much into mindset, but you do need to get some minds. This is also in spiritual life. And the most important goal for you is your spiritual goal. You learn about the happiness research, what society's been telling you. And the Loft is a facility. It's a spiritual entrepreneurial atmosphere where you can get coached and mentored in life and with your non-material goals and helped in education, your whole education system here. And we're all non-profit. We're not here to get your money and charge you subscriptions and that kind of stuff. We're here generally to serve you and give you that education. So it's a free education. I always say we should charge, but they don't let me. Because I think people value things when they pay for things. Sometimes when something's like free, it doesn't, sometimes you lose value, but hey. So if you want to try the 21-day challenge you've just started, and any questions? Got 1 minute. How did you find that? Anyway, any feedback? How was that? Was that a bit of a journey or what? Was it more than you expected?
Yeah, actually I didn't have any idea what I was fine, but yeah, I find it very interesting because now I'm feeling quite lost in life.
Yeah.
So it really helped me to figure out and break it down. My goals, if I have some,
Most
I have,
people-
but
yeah.
it's hard for me like prioritize, what I want in life.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've got to sit down and ask yourself the question, what do I want? And start writing it down. It can take months to figure out what you want. But you got to every day sit and start asking yourself start exploring things, write it down, and then ask yourself, why do I want that? If you can't think of a reason, it's probably not important to you. But what we're showing you today, you do actually have a non-material goal you should be concerned about. And the reason most people are lost is because one, they're not teaching you how to be successful, even materially, but they're also, people have tried everything society's told you you're lost because there's nothing left to do other than work hard for the same things that everyone else is working so hard for, that doesn't bring fulfillment and happiness. Krishna is saying there's a higher goal. And once you have that higher goal, all the other goals will line up. See, why do I do entrepreneurship? Why do I do what I do? Because it all lines up with my ultimate goal. I know I'm on a non-material journey. I have another life. I have a goal. I've got to become the best version of myself. I have to qualify for the next level. We're in transit, everyone. Just like you're in transit from this body right now. You won't have a young woman's body for very long, 20 years maybe. It's the machine's going to change. But what about you? What's your goal after? So, I mean, the thing is, you're not 30, you're not 20, you're not 50. You're none of those things.
Yeah.
You're something much more valuable than what your body and your mind are. The value of all the chemicals, you know what the value of all your body is and all the body parts? It's about $100 from a chemical point of view. These are realities the yogi faces. Why am I putting my money on 10% on mind and body, psychology and biology? Has anyone been satisfied by any amount of mental and physical stimulation? All you've got on offer out there is mental and physical stimulation and entertainment. Is it really going to do it for you? You've already rubbed up, you've already had a few men, right? Or women, whatever your inclination is, right? Yeah, you've done it to yourself, probably, right? Being frank, right? You've eaten so many things. You've watched so many movies. You've traveled. You've done some bungee jumping. Probably, no, I'm not saying don't do those things, but you're still going to be left one day sitting there at the end of all that. What's to do? Krishna is saying, the yogis are saying, you've got another goal. Don't just get caught up in that level. Go higher. You're a permanent living being going through bodily changes. You never die. You exist eternally. It's not a theory. You exist. You can't do away with yourself. So you've got to face yourself. Now, you may have had a disappointing time in some ways and you're a bit down, but that's just the mind and body. You've got to kind of start getting higher knowledge and realize there's a whole exciting realm of it. All the great spiritual teachers of the world tell you, go higher, go higher. What are you doing down there? But society is, even these spiritual stuff out there, all this postmodern spiritualism and pick and mix, they're keeping you on the low level. Here we give you the genuine, authentic knowledge, unchanged. We haven't changed nothing. All the same Sanskrit. I know it's quite a lot to take in. I don't want to overwhelm you, but for me, when I heard this, I was like, I'm excited. I don't care. I'm excited. I'm sign me up. And I just started chanting Hare Krishna every day. All my mates thought I was weird, going down the pub after a gig and, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. What's this Hare Krishna thing? And all my habits disappeared. I became healthier, I became happier. And they all saw it in me. Said, what's happened to you? I don't know. I didn't have a loft. I didn't even get educated. I just started chanting. I don't care what this chanting is. Love it. That was me, South Londoner. I just kind of kept chanting.
Oh, I just had a question.
Yes.
I found that really interesting, and I know we talked a lot about happiness. I read a book called The Happiness Trap. Have you heard of that book?
No, I
Okay.
haven't read that particular book.
But it talks about like why chasing happiness isn't right, because And it's just interesting to think about. I thought it was really interesting, like, he talks about how like chasing happiness is also gonna like make you end up in a kind of loop, which I don't believe. I think happiness is like an art, like you create a happy life, and it's good too, like Dalai Lama said, like happiness is an art, which I believe, but he, in the book, it says like just don't chase after happiness, like have a meaningful life instead. So like follow meaning, like follow your values and like your goals, like the outcome more, because otherwise you get kind of caught up in the emotional way of living. But I'm not sure, what's your thoughts on that?
Materially, that's helpful.
Yeah.
It's true. But when he says don't follow happiness, what type of happiness are you talking about?
Yeah.
So the yogi knows there's material happiness and there's non-material happiness.
Yeah.
So they're not teaching about non-material happiness. But to be materially happy, you do need to have an outcome and a goal and a dream and a purpose. You have to have a definitive, Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich. You have to have a definitive goal and purpose in life. When you're just drifting and you don't know what your life's about, it's pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Without a definitive goal or purpose, you have to make up a goal. Krishna says, instead of making up a goal, go for the highest goal. Because materially, you may achieve your material goal, but it finishes with the body. Next life you start again. So wise person like, well, I'd rather go for the non-material goal.
Yeah.
You know, material goals all end with the body and the mind. The finishing of the body is the finishing of all your education, your family, friends. You leave nothing behind. So why invest in the temporary? Why not invest in the permanent? You're permanent. Why not? So there must be permanent happiness, right? And as in Sunday, remember the quality of happiness we're looking for? We want permanent happiness. We don't want death and breakup and things. Every living entity, even the animals, don't want that. Why is it we are built to want permanent happiness? Because it exists. I'll leave you with this analogy, then we'll eat. You're in the desert and you're thirsty. There is water in the desert. SAS people will teach you that. You can find water in the desert, special cactus and things like that, right? There's some water, right? But that when you find that water, it's just a drop on your parched tongue. So much effort and agony just to find one drop. And then you tell all your friends, I'm happy tonight, isn't it? You go through your struggle of your week and your day and you find one drop of happiness, you take pictures and videos and you post it. I found it, it's possible. So there is happiness here, but the smart person says, but you're thirsty, you're looking to have the fact that you're thirsty means there must be oceans and rivers. Why are you trying to get water from the desert? So the yogi says, go to the non-material platform. There's oceans and rivers. You can bathe and drown in water. Why stay in the desert on the lower platform spectrum of happiness?
Isn't it interesting, like the fact that people chase material happiness kind of leads to like so much destruction on the planet? Because like when you think of like the fashion industry or like all these industries and how much they're polluting the earth as well. I just find it interesting how much it links up like low consciousness and like climate change as well.
Nothing will change in the world for all these material, even this green thing. I was doing green products and teaching environmentalism in the 80s. There's been no change at all, despite information. Why? Because the problem, as you said, if you can't find non-material happiness, you have to seek material. Yeah, we're just asking some questions. We're going. Just think about that. If whatever material happiness you get, you always want it again and you want more. It starts with a drink, starts with a cigarette, starts with speed and cocaine. The more you want, the more you get, the more you want. Unless you experience a higher taste and become self-satisfied, you'll never see a diminishing ecological footprint on the planet because people have no control of their mind and senses. Lust burns like fire, Krishna says, and it burns. The more you try to enjoy the temporary, the more the flame within you burns even higher. That's why people get into addictions. We are full of addictions right now, and the worst one is porn addiction, right? Particularly men. Women are too, but mainly men. Why? Because the more they get, the more they want. The more they want, the more they get. Alcohol's the same. Relationships, workaholics. My friends who are on Workaholic Anonymous. You get addicted to things because you're not dealing with satisfying the self. The guy in the car, he's just getting more and more desperate. This way, that way, this way. Just feed the guy in the car. Oh, he doesn't need the car. He don't need the car to be happy. So there will be no changes socially, economically, politically, environmentally, unless you have Einstein said, unless you solve a problem off the level the problem was created, you'll never see a solution. So material happiness, material problems cannot be solved on the material platform. We have to go to a higher level. This is the science of Bhakti. This is it. And it's ancient, but
I have a question.
oh, yeah, quickly.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, I'm really interested in this. Oh.
Okay, go on.
But if, like, I want to encourage my family, my loved ones, to be better, like, understand higher consciousness, I always tell them about it. But, like, for example, my dad, he might just say, oh, no, it's okay. Like, no, I'll just keep, like, I know that he has, like, destructive habits. And I tell him, like, don't put that sugar in your coffee, or like.
Yeah, but telling people what to do and older, it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't work. Well, that's a conversation we can have another time. I'm an entrepreneur. People come to me and my parents say, why are you doing that? They try to put me off.
Yeah.
There's always naysayers. Yeah. You got to fly your own plane. And the best way to convince people is to show your success. So show in your character and who you are. Let them see the changes and then they'll believe you.
Yeah. So
just going up to people and telling them not to do that, they'll just dig in.
To just role model and
become the best version of you, become a better person. Show them that actually what the knowledge you have creates a nicer person. And then people, that's the problem with all the activism I did in the old days. We're just trying to tell people to become vegetarians, stop eating meat, and you're horrible. It didn't change many people. Some did change. Because what are they thinking? Well, you're making good point, but you're a horrible person. Why would I want to do what you say?
Yeah.
If you're compassionate, can't you show kindness and the type of person that you are? And then they'll listen to you and they'll say, oh, that knowledge created that person. I want it.
Yeah.
That's more powerful. I had to learn that the hard way too. But we can talk more on that. Let's go and have dinner before Munja kills me.